Hi and welcome to Yoga with Lucy. I'm glad you could join me for this gentle flow. We're going to do some twisting, ease out some aches and pains together today. So we're going to actually begin with a mudra. Now mudras are hand gestures and they work a little bit like reflexology does for the feet. So the different fingers, parts of the hand correspond to different parts of the body, different intentions, different purposes. So we're going to work with Bhairava mudra today. We're going to place the right hand on top of the left. And we're going to relax the shoulders, relax the arms. You can let the hands sit in your lap, sitting however is comfortable for you as long as the spine is nice and long. And we're going to gently close the eyes or maybe just lower the gaze. So I'm going to invite you to draw your attention to the breath to begin with. Just noticing your natural breath, observing the natural rhythm, not trying to change it or do anything with it. Just giving your mind a chance to catch up with your body, to settle into this time and space that you've carved out for yourself. And while you just stay with the breath, I'm going to explain a little bit around this mudra. So it's also known as the fierce determination gesture. So for me this goes quite nicely with the theme of twisting. So we're going to twist the body around our central core, around the spine, a little bit like being in the centre of a whirlwind, a hurricane, finding the stillness at the very centre of it when you're determined to remain calm, determined not to become unsettled by everything that's going on around you. This is the gesture, this is what we need to work with. So with that in mind, let's gently blink the eyes open. And we're going to begin with just some gentle neck rolls. So taking a breath in. As you exhale, let's take the gaze over the right shoulder. Inhaling, we're rolling the chin down to the chest. And as we exhale, taking the gaze over the left shoulder. Back to centre, over to the right. I'm going to invite you to do this with your own breath, at your own pace. Seeing what feels right for you. Just remembering not to tip the head backwards while you do this. Keeping it forward and to the side. Good, coming back to neutral, let's roll the shoulders backwards. Gosh, they're crunchy today. And rolling the shoulders forwards. Good, and from wherever we're sat, we're going to take the right hand a big step out to the right hand side, sweeping the left arm over for a side bend. So keeping this left sitting bone grounded, we're going for a stretch between the hip and the ribs. Coming back up to centre, let's go over to the left, same thing, ground that right sitting bone, keep the shoulders square, we're not trying to reach over, we're getting a real side bend. Back to centre, over to the right. Your gaze can be to the floor, it can be to the top hand, whatever feels nice for you and is comfortable for your neck. Back to centre, one more time, over to the left. Nice. Back to centre. Now if you're not already sat cross-legged, I'd like to invite you to come to cross-legged if you can, if that's okay for you. We're going to inhale to lengthen the spine, and as we exhale we're going to hinge forward from the hips, but we're just coming as far as you feel some resistance. So we're not trying to get our head on the mat, we're not trying to go too far, it's our first move. We just want to feel some resistance in the hips, and from there we can either take a little sway, or you can find some stillness if that works better for you. Gently walking the hands in, easing yourself up. We're going to inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale, we're starting to twist gently to the right. We're going to bring the right hand down behind us, just to keep the spine long. Left hand's going to come to the right knee, and we're going to take the gaze last of all to the right shoulder. Easing back to centre, sweeping the left hand round behind, right hand to left knee, just a really gentle, simple twist to begin with. Good, easing back to centre. We're going to swap the legs over. Most of us have a comfortable way, most of us have an uncomfortable way, so let's make sure we're working with both sides. Inhaling to lengthen the spine and exhaling, again easing forward just to that point of resistance. And once more, it's up to you whether you would prefer to find some stillness or take a little swing. And walking the hands in, easing yourself up. We're going to take that gentle twist again. So with all these twists, we're going to twist from the hips, then the ribs, shoulders and the gaze last of all. So we're looking for an even twist throughout the spine. Right hand down behind, left hand to right knee. Sweeping around, left hand coming behind, right hand to left knee. And trying to keep the jaw parallel to the floor. We don't want to be craning to reach around, we just want a nice, even, gentle twist. Good, easing back to centre. Let's come over onto hands and knees. So hands directly under shoulders, knees directly under hips. Really spread the hands out, grabbing hold of the mat. And we're going to do some rounds of cat and cow to begin with. So taking a breath in, as you exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under, pull the belly in, push up into the back of the shoulders and drop the head. As we inhale, lifting the sitting bones, melting the belly and the chest through, lifting the gaze last of all. So making it a really nice wave-like movement, timing it with the breath if that feels good for you. Head last of all. Easing into any bits that feel like they need it, wriggling into any bits that feel like they need it more than others, where you've got particular areas of tightness. Enjoy this really simple movement. And then coming back to neutral position, we're going to sit back to a child's pose. For child's pose, I'm going to bring my knees out wider, keeping the toes together so I can really get down inside it. I'm going to reach the hands away, but make it comfortable for you. If this isn't comfortable, please take a lie down on your front, or just take a seated rest if that feels better. Please don't be uncomfortable at any point in the practice. Good, easing back up now. Onto hands and knees, we're going to thread the needle. Great for the shoulders. And inhale the right arm all the way up. And as we exhale, we're reaching through to the left hand side as far as you can. Inhale, reaching all the way up. And just to make sure you can see where I'm going with it, we're reaching through to the left hand side. One more time, reaching all the way up. And through to the left hand side. This time we're going to ground the shoulder in the right ear. We're going to relax the right arm. And we're just going to stay here. If you feel like you want a bit more twist in the upper back, we can press into this left hand to increase it gently. So we can work with this in stronger ways, but we're staying with nice gentle movements today. Coming back up onto the hands and knees. I'm going to take a nice puppy pose. We're going to walk the hands away from us, keeping the hips stacked over the knees. We're going to melt the chest through, bringing the forehead or maybe even the chin if you've got lots of flexibility in your shoulders down to the mat. You can drop the elbows if that feels better. Make it your pose. Walking the hands back in, coming onto hands and knees. We're going to repeat thread the needle now on the other side. So let's reach the left arm all the way up and threading it through to the right. Reach as far as you can. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, threading it through. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, threading it through. This time grounding the shoulder and the ear. Hips stay above the knees. And again, if you want to, you can press into that right hand to increase the twist. You can see on this side better how that increases the twist a little bit. Come back onto the hands and knees. Walking the hands away, taking one more puppy pose. Melting that chest through, bringing the forehead or maybe the chin down. Keep breathing, don't forget that. Walking the hands all the way back in. We're going to tuck the toes now for our first downward facing dog. So, a little bend of the knees because it's just our first one. Toes are tucked, lifting the hips up and back, melting the chest through. Spread the hands out, really press into them. Little bend of the elbows to make sure we're not locking them out. Melt that chest through, ears are between the biceps, and we're going to give the head a wobble. Releasing tension in the neck. Making sure pulling the tummy in, the sitting bones are lifting. Then we can start to walk the heels up and down, feeling into the back of the legs. heels to settle towards the mat. If that feels nice, you can maintain a little bend of the knee. From here, we're going to take the gaze through the hands, bending the knees. Let's start to tiptoe to the top of the mat. So we can hang in forward fold, relax the belly, relax the head. I've got a little bend in my knees here because we've only just begun to move. And then roll in all the way up to standing. Standing nice and tall with the feet hip distance. Let's sweep the arms all the way up. Bringing the hands together if that feels okay, but you can keep them wider. Let's take a little side bend to the right. Good, back to centre, little side bend to the left. Back to centre, and then we're going to fold forward. Little bend of the knees, hinging from the hips, chest leading, then relaxing the head. If your hands don't come down to the mat, just rest them on your shins. Don't worry about trying to touch the mat here. Inhaling, we're going to come up halfway, so we've got a flat back position, fingertips to the shins, and then we're going to fold again deeply. I've come away from the top of the mat, but I'm going to step the right foot back, drop the right knee down, and I'm going to sweep the arms all the way up for a low lunge. Hands are going to come down. I'm going to step back to plank. I'm going to lower the knees, and I'm going to come down one elbow at a time, elbows under the shoulders, drop the hips for Sphinx. And you can make Sphinx pose as active or as relaxed as you like by shrugging into the pose or lifting away, whatever feels nice for your back. We're going to bring the hands back underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes for downward facing dog. I'm going to inhale the right leg all the way up behind. As we exhale, we're stepping it forward to where the right hand is, dropping the left knee down and sweeping the arms up for low lunge. Good, hands come down. Left foot's going to step to join the right at the top of the mat. Back in a forward fold. Inhale halfway, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Up to you if you want to keep a bend in the knees. And then reaching all the way back to the top. From here, we're going to fold straight into our second side. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. We're stepping the left foot back, dropping the left knee down. So the knee isn't in front of the ankle, it's directly above it as we sweep the arms all the way up. You can lift the gaze if that feels good. Hands come down. Let's step back to plank. From here, let's lower the knees, keeping the bottom high and the elbows tucked in. We're going to lower the chin and chest all the way down to the mat, and then we're going to use the back muscles to lift into a baby cobra. Lowering back down, tucking the toes through hands and knees to downward facing dog. Inhaling the left leg all the way up behind. Stepping the left foot forwards where the left hand is, dropping the right knee down and sweeping the arms all the way up. Hands come down, stepping to the top of the mat. Inhale halfway, exhale fold. Inhale, reach all the way to the top. Exhaling the hands into prayer. Nice, inhale, reach. Exhale, folding forwards. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold, hands come down, stepping back now to downward facing dog. From here, lowering the knees and taking a rest. So I'm going to take a child's pose, but feel free to lie on your front, take a seated rest, to kneel, whatever feels like a nice rest for you. Easing up, we're going to come round to seated. First thing we're going to do is we're going to bring the feet wide. You can lean back into the hands a bit, keep the chest high, and we're just going to windscreen wipe the knees from one side to the other. Then we're going to drop both knees to the right. We're going to bring left shin on top of the right foot and sit up nice and tall. If this isn't comfortable for you, bring them out further so that you can sit up nice and tall. If you can bring them in tighter, that's entirely your choice. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to take a breath in to lengthen. As we exhale, we're just going to twist from the hips in the opposite direction to the knees. Inhale to lengthen. As we exhale, we're twisting from the ribs. You see my gaze is still in line with the torso. One more time, inhale to lengthen. As we exhale, twisting from the shoulders. You can bring the left hand round behind, right hand onto that left knee, and then, and only then, taking the gaze over the left shoulder. Nice, unwinding back to centre. Let's draw knees bent, feet flat to the floor, and a little wiggle in between. Don't worry about your knees getting to the floor, it doesn't matter if they only come to here. It's just your range of hip rotation, it doesn't matter at all. So this time we're going to drop the knees to the left. Again, bringing this lower right leg in the arch of the left foot if that feels okay, or we can bring them wider if that enables you to sit up better. Sitting up nice and tall, spine nice and long. Let's take a breath in to lengthen. Exhale, just twisting from the hips. Again, opposite direction to the knees. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, twisting from the ribs. One more time, inhale to lengthen, exhale, twisting from the shoulders. Right hand can come towards, going behind us. Left hand to right knee or shin, gaze, then over the right shoulder. Winding the gaze back to centre. Let's bring the legs straight out in front, making sure you're on your sitting bones. We're pulling the toes up towards us, the feet are really active. Shoulders back and down, fingertips or palms by the hips. Chest is nice and proud, chin is tucked and gaze towards the toes. It's a lot to think about just for sitting down with the legs out straight in front of us. So Dandasana, staff pose, looks like an easy pose, looks like I'm not doing anything, but I can feel that my body is really active in this position. Releasing the hands and the gaze. We're going to draw the right knee in. We're either going to bring the right foot into the left hand and cradle with the right arms, we can rock it, or if you've a bit more hip mobility, we can bring the right foot into the left elbow. Just make sure you can still sit up tall when you do this. I'm going to rock the baby. So people who come to my classes know I love this because it feels like it's somebody else's leg and it makes me laugh. Good, so releasing the arms. We're going to place this foot on the outside of the left leg now, sitting up nice and tall, keeping those left toes active. I'm going to use the same principle to twist towards this right knee. So we're going to inhale to lengthen, exhale, just twisting from the hips to begin with, starting to wrap this left hand around a little bit. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, twisting from the ribs. One more time, inhale to lengthen. You might need to use it as a little bit of a lever, wrap that arm round, twisting from the shoulders, right hand coming down behind to keep you sat up nice and tall. Take the gaze over the right shoulder. You might be able to bring your elbow onto the outside of the knee with the hand up. I don't feel that I can do that today, but feel free to take that as an option if it feels nice. Easing the gaze and the shoulders, the ribs and the hips back round. Let's extend that leg and see how the other side feels. So let's draw the left knee in. Again, holding left foot with the right hand or bring it into the crease of the elbow. Let's rock the baby. Good. Releasing that foot then onto the outside of the right leg. Sit up nice and tall, right toes active. Let's inhale to lengthen and exhale, just twisting from the hips. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, twisting from the ribs. The right arm can come round. One more time, inhale to lengthen, exhale, twisting from the shoulders. Left hand can come down behind us. Gaze over the left shoulder. And again, feel free to take that option of the elbow on the outside of the knee. It feels more comfortable for me on this side. But still, I'm going to stay with the arm wrapped around. Good, unwinding the gaze on the body, back to centre. Let's bring the legs straight in front one more time. Pull the toes up towards you, make sure you're in your sitting bones. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. You can take the gaze up if that feels nice. Really lift up out of the waist. And as you exhale, hinge forward. Let the hands land wherever they land. I'm not worried if you get your shins or your feet or anywhere like that. Just let them land on the mat. From here, it's up to you if you want to use the inhale to lift up and lengthen a little bit. Exhale, maybe fold more deeply, but try and keep the length in the spine. Keep the neck nice and neutral, try not to round into this. Good, walking the hands back in. We're going to come to lie down on our backs now. It's like the magic words in any yoga class. Knees are going to be bent, feet are flat to the floor. We're going to do one final twist. So we're going to push into the feet so we can lift the hips a little bit and hover them off the mat. We're going to shift them over to the left so that the knees can fall easily to the right. Now if that doesn't feel easy, wriggle until it does. We want these knees to just relax. We don't want to be holding ourselves in this position. From here, it's nice sometimes to bring the arms out wide at shoulder height. You may prefer to rest them on your torso, and it's up to you what you want to do with your gaze. Whether you want to keep the face up towards the ceiling, whether you want to gaze over your left shoulder. I don't think in this twist it makes an awful lot of difference what you do with the cervical spine, so just however you're comfortable. But really thinking about relaxing through the torso, through the belly, feeling that rib cage compressed on the right hand side, nice and open on the left hand side as you breathe in and out. Good, let's bring those knees back to centre. Pushing into the feet, let's square the hips, square the shoulders again before we come to the other side. I'm going to push into the feet, hover the hips over to the right, knees are going to fall to the left. Again, wriggle so that it's comfortable, so you don't have to take any effort to stay here. I'm going to keep my arms out wide. I'm going to bring the gaze over the right shoulder a little bit. This time I put my bobble in the wrong place today. So again, just noticing the left hand side of the rib cage more constricted, this right hand side lovely and open, nice stretch from the lower back down the outside of the hip. If you've got more time, it can be nice to stay here. And then coming back to centre, let's find your version of Shavasana. So traditional Shavasana, legs outstretched, feet flop out to the edges of the mat, arms fall away from the body with the palms facing up. Or you might prefer knees are bent, feet flat to the floor. Bring them wider so the knees can rest against each other. That might feel nicer for your lower back. I prefer to take full Shavasana, so get yourself comfy. Closing the eyes or maybe gently lowering the gaze. And we're just going to spend a few breaths here. Just letting everything relax, letting everything go just for now. If you've got more time, I'd invite you to stay here, perhaps for 5 minutes, perhaps 10. If not, think about what your body wants to do. You want to take a big stretch with the arms overhead, feeling the full length of the body, or would you prefer to draw the knees one at a time into the torso, wrap the arms round, maybe rolling around on the lower back. Easing over onto your right hand side to come up to seated. To draw the practice to a close, let's bring the hands into prayer at the heart. Lowering the chin to the chest, the head to the heart. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. Hope to see you on the mat again soon.